Well, hey everyone, this is a weird one to come to you about the coronavirus and what's going on in our world right now. And I just have an important announcement for our Grace Church family, and I want to give you a little bit of, I'll give you the announcement and then kind of talk a little bit about it. But in light of the governor's kind of mandate today that groups over 250 please don't gather in the state of Pennsylvania, we're going to be shutting down our public gatherings, our worship services, beginning this weekend and for the rest of the month of March. And that also includes any other events and gatherings at Grace Church that were planned during the month of March. And we're going to reevaluate that as we go, as we head into Easter. But for now, for the next 3 weekends during March, there will be no Sunday services at Grace, no special events during the week. We're asking LifeGroups to continue to meet at your discretion. If you're open to going into one another's home, just please, if you're sick and that sort of thing, stay away. But we want to honor that kind of mandate. We recognize that we're one of the leading churches in the area, and we felt it was important that we kind of lead the way in this. Let me give you a couple of other pieces of information, and then I'll give you a little bit of an explanation. The other thing that you need to know is we're urging you to join us for Grace Online this weekend. And instead of coming to one of our buildings, you can join online, whoisgrace.com. You can find the Grace Online line up there. We're going to be having services at 8:30, 10, and 11:30. I've actually prepared a special message specifically for this situation for this weekend, and it'll have some very important information there as well as what I believe God has told me to share with you this weekend. So please join us for Grace Online this weekend, and we would love to have you there. And the third thing that you know need to know is that information will be flowing through whoisgrace.com. That's our website, or the Who is Grace Facebook page. And so that's going to be the spot for updated information about what's going on. And listen, we're having to reimagine what it means to be the church during this time. And that's not a bad thing. Because we really believe that the church can exist. The church isn't about buildings. We've said that 100 times. The church is about the people. And so as we think through, what does kids ministry look like? What does youth ministry look like? What does life groups look like? And worship together look like? What does serving our community look like? And we've got a lot of things that we want to share with you over these next few weeks. But make sure that you stay in touch with whoisgrace.com to find out information as we go. And so let me just provide a little bit of explanation and backstory, because what I've seen is these two extremes, and two extremes even in our church. One is fear and panic and people who are worried about this pandemic, and the other one is dismissiveness, people saying, oh, that's stupid, or this is just the media, or whatever, getting everybody hyped up. Let me just say this. I think we need to avoid those two extremes. So we need to avoid the extreme of fear. Over and over again, God tells us in the scripture to not be afraid. And there's this great passage in 1 Timothy where he says, I've not given you a spirit of fear, but a spirit of power and of love and of sound mind. And so I think we want to grab a hold of that. This is no reason to panic. But let me say, we need to avoid the other extreme as well, and that's dismissiveness. And this idea, I've heard a lot of people say this is a media hoax. This is not a media hoax. There's something going on here. This is not Y2K, where we all prepared for something and then nothing happened. Listen, there are whole countries around the world. There are actual examples of what this virus is doing to whole groups of people. And so we need to be mindful of that. I've also heard people saying this is just the flu. And again, I'm no doctor here, but I do know that this is different than the flu. This virus lies dormant in people for up to 17 days. And there's a portion of that period where that person's contagious and they don't even know that they have this virus. That's not like the flu. When you get the flu, you know you have the flu. You don't go for 17 days not knowing you're sick and you're spreading it around to everyone else. But then what happens is when this lies dormant and then there's an outbreak in a region, people get it all at once, which causes tremendous trouble for the healthcare systems, for the supply chain systems, and for other systems that are set up in a region to serve people. And so the thing that we have to take notice of here is that it's mainly affecting the most vulnerable among us. And, I've heard people say, well, you're not going to get it. 90% of people don't have any symptoms. That's right. But it is affecting the most vulnerable among us, the elderly, and people who have health conditions, specifically respiratory problems. And listen, I have some of those folks in my family. And so that's just the point, that it is affecting the most vulnerable. And if the most vulnerable among us are not okay, isn't this a chance for us as Christians, for us as a church, to step up and say, hey, listen, this is where we come in. This is where we love our neighbors as we love ourselves. This is where, and I love this phrase, this is where we will disrupt our routine out of love of neighbor, because we recognize that our gathering together could endanger people in our community by spreading this virus around. And so we will disrupt our routine. We will put our normal on pause so that the most vulnerable among us could be safe. And I thought of this passage. It's been just ringing in my ears for the last few days in Philippians 2, 3, and 4, where Paul says, do nothing out of selfish ambition or vain conceit. Rather, in humility, value others above yourselves, not looking to your own interests, but each of you to the interests of others. And so, guys, this is an unbelievable opportunity for us, for the church to be the church, and for us to step up and not only continue on to do ministry in our own congregation so that we might continue to grow. We're going to continue on in our Hebrews series. We're going to continue to do that book. I'm really glad right now that you have a resource in your hand. We're going to be doing some Facebook Live stuff and that during the week to help us to stay in touch with each other. And so that's all going to continue. But we also are considering some ideas about how could we reach out to the community during this time, those who are most vulnerable, and actually allow the church to step up and be the church. And so I'm excited, guys, for this phase, even though we didn't see this coming. It's a bit out of left field, but we believe that God is in this, and we believe that God is going to show himself in this. And actually, I believe that God is going to reveal some new ways to us that we can think about how we do church going forward in the future. So anyway, I love you guys. I won't see you this weekend or for the next few weeks during the month of March, but hopefully we'll see you soon after that. And we want to make sure that you stay in touch online. Join us for Grace Online this weekend, where we're going to have a lot of important information, and I can't wait to share the message with you that God has given me. All right, God bless you guys, and hopefully we'll see you soon. Stay safe.